All right, first day of spring football, and Adam, Mel Tucker's finally on the field with these guys. I know he's a little bit of the 2 hours a week, during the winter, but on the field his first practice, and we were able to talk to Steven Montez, Mustafa Johnson, then Coach Tucker afterwards. We didn't get to watch any of it, but what are your thoughts?
Well, first off, it's actually spring football. A year ago, spring practices were already concluded, so it's nice. Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to garner after one practice in shorts, but Mustafa Johnson admitted, hey, they're learning new terminology and they're going to be swimming for a while. It's like learning a new language. It's going to take some time. You've got to really get that down before you can play fast. So it's going to be, something that takes time. And Mel Tucker said they're about where he expected them to be. This is not obviously going to be a finished product anytime soon. But one thing Mustafa Johnson said that stood out is if you're walking, you're doing something wrong. So these coaches clearly want to have these guys moving around during practice.
Yeah, and Mustafa made a good point too, because he had mentioned that there's some guys that are picking up the terminology pretty quick. He's a slow learner and kind of struggling a little bit. So there's guys different learning levels, and we know that in life. But I mean, it'll be interesting to see how quickly some of these guys take to it. We know Mustafa is a great player, and guys like him and others that are a little bit slower learners, how long does it take them to actually pick it up? So I think a lot of spring could be that, is just trying to pick things up.
Yeah, especially on offense. You mentioned we talked to Steven Montez. He said this is going to be more of a pro-style type offense. He's going to be under center some. They're going to be changing tempo. So it's a huge adjustment for this entire football team. But you get the sense there is this feeling of excitement with this new coaching staff taking over. We've both heard this winter, even though it was really grueling, that there's just an energy with this coaching staff that this team is quickly bought into.
Yeah, Steven mentioned, in fact, that he thinks he'll be under center about 35% of the time, which, I think the only time he's ever been under center here was in short yardage situations. So that'll be quite a difference.
Yeah, it will be. I'm curious to see what this new offense looks like and which feature back emerges. We've talked a lot about that. They want to run the football. Well, they got to figure out who's going to do that, because they don't have, the grad transfer and Trayvon McMillan coming in this time around. So they've got
nobody in free agency.
No one in free agency. I do think Alex Fontenot, if he can pick up the pass protection stuff and learn to be a little bit more of a patient runner, that was something that Darian Hagan said last year. Deion Smith was a pretty highly regarded guy coming in here. Had an offer from UCLA, and Notre Dame was after him as a defensive back. So he's a guy that was hurt when he came in that I'm anxious to see. So they got to find a guy at that position this spring.
Well, and the other thing is that I've thought about recently is, Mel Tucker has mentioned a few times he loves big running backs. Is this a chance for Bo Bichette? That we haven't seen a lot out of him, but he's a big guy. He's their biggest back. Is he a guy that fits into what Mel Tucker wants?
Maybe. I would. If you want to go with the big back, Jaren Mangum comes in as an early enrollee. Had 47 other scholarship offers, so maybe he gets a look there. To me, Bo Bichette can do some really good things. He is an absolute stud on special teams. I don't know if I've seen the explosiveness that screams feature back out of him, though.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I wonder, just with Tucker wanting that, if he'll be more of a featured player in that backfield. We'll see. But your impressions of Tucker, we mentioned just before we started, a little more subdued post-practice than he's been in his press conferences, and I wonder if that's the type of guy we'll get post-practice, is just more of, hey, we're down to business now.
Well, my first impression of him is the man is comfortable in his own skin, and he knows what he wants to convey. He's not going to get baited into certain answers. I think it's a no-nonsense approach. And here, look, this is how I feel, and I'm not going to dance around things for 3 minutes so you get a great quote out of it. So I think what you see is what you get there.
Yeah, he's a professional, that's for sure, and he's definitely played the game to this point, and I'm excited about him. I think it'll be interesting to see what he does this spring, and certainly good impression so far from the players and from him.
Yep, and one thing he did mention is, hey, I was an interim head coach in the NFL, so this was not the first time he's been out on a practice field as a head coach, and he said that experience really helped him prepare him for his role now.
Yeah, certainly made today much more comfortable that it wasn't his first time running a team. That was the answer. That was the question he was specifically asked. But so far, sounds like a good first day, and Adam and I will be back throughout spring ball to talk about each practice.